Welcome back to the series where I take you along as we fix up our 1970s home. You have seen us remove popcorn ceilings, drop ceilings, linoleum floors, wallpaper, and a whole lot of mustard and green carpets. We are finally at the stage of adding things to our home. This week we are tackling painting, flooring, starting our custom closets, and I will be showing you our first peek at our kitchen cabinets. I want to show you the flooring today. I left you guys on a little bit of a cliffhanger last week, and honestly that was because I was like freaking out about the flooring, but I think I like it now. It's just not a common type of floor to use, and so it's hard to see like inspiration pictures. Like, it's not on HGTV, so like how do you see how it looks in houses like styled really well? It's actually already installed in all the bedrooms, but it's covered up with plastic now since we're doing painting, so I will show you a piece of it after I show you these clips. I debated even showing you all what we have done this week, as it has just been so much work for such little reward right now. We're just not at the stage of having beautiful before and after shots. But then I realized that there are some lessons for all of us in this, whether you are tackling DIY projects today or honestly just tackling life. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit, as well as show you guys where we are at right now, because what we're at right now, we should be pretty dang proud of, I think. Can you believe that these two rooms were covered in popcorn ceiling and mustard and green carpet? After agonizing over paint colors, we decided to go with accessible beige for our trim, and you will see how this goes on in just a minute. I'm thinking about how we're rough right now, and I think our spirits are a little bit like, this is getting long, this is like taking longer than we thought and stuff. Yeah. And it's not to over spiritualize it, but it's kind of like how Moses like brought the people into the desert, and then like they were like, this sucks.
You're looking back on it, you're like, come on people, you're out of slavery.
Exactly, but they like were like, I'd rather be back there, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's the stage we're in.
Yeah. In that area around the mirror over there. Oh, are you okay?
It's coming down. I know it's probably really hard to picture this, but this is our bathroom right here, and we did take down this mirror just so that we could get a nice clean finish and paint underneath it. We also had to repair some holes as well as caulk around the door frames, as our handyman had to take these off to install the floor. My mom and I were just talking about how much we hate caulking, but I just learned a trick, and that is up here I had the slit that is like the cut side facing down, because you cut it at an angle. Down here I had that more slanted side facing up, and look how much better it is down here than up there. So I think that's gonna waste less caulk at the end of the day. Whatever, at the end of the day it's just caulk, right? A life lesson that I've taken away from this project is just to do things right the first time, and so we're just really trying to make sure that we get these surfaces all nice and smooth. We also had a bit of an issue with some peeling paint, and so here we just tried to peel off as much as we could. This was the old paint that was on here before. We eventually do plan to change out this trim, so we're not too focused on it, but did sand it down to make sure that it would be as smooth as possible. So we have a very exciting delivery. This was delivered like a week or two ago, but we're finally unboxing it, and that is our kitchen cabinets. So we went with a shaker style door, and we went with kind of an off-white. I didn't want like the bright like farmhouse white. I wanted a little bit more muted. And then we just found out this one, like one of the drawers that is supposed to be like the tier there, is broken, so we'll have to report that. But honestly, we can probably just fix it. Maybe they'll give us a discount. Okay, so in addition to taping to prep the walls like around all the edges and then putting tarps down, also are using this lovely chemical, which is TSP. I don't really know what it does, but a lot of people recommend using that on your walls if they are really old, to get off like all the gunk, because then you get really good adhesion when you put the paint on there, and you don't have to have like any peeling paint, which would be like the worst case scenario. I agonized over choosing our paint colors. You would not believe how many tones of white there are, and I know that sounds crazy to say, but I definitely went down that road. The color that we chose for the trim is Accessible Beige by Sherwin-Williams. And then for the walls, we went back and forth between Dove White and Alabaster by Sherwin-Williams. Dove White is by Benjamin Moore, I believe. At this point, we honestly were not sure if we had made the right choice putting on these coats on the trim, but now that it's all together, we do really like this color combination. In here, we don't have the walls done yet. They recommend doing ceilings and then trim and then walls after that in that sequence. We also read that it is best to roll on the doors and then use a brush to add a little bit of texture after that.
I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. It kind of looks a little bit gray in this light, but also a little pink. Mostly pink because of the reflection, you know?
I mean, there is a little pink.
As we were doing this very time-consuming process of painting pretty much every surface in this home, we just really had to remind ourselves that things always look a little bit worse before they start looking better. There's a fan going in here because it's like toxic. We had to do a really heavy-duty oil-based primer on this wall where the wallpaper was that I took off, and so it looks all nice and beautiful. This is like a little foretaste of what our colors will look like because we will have white. It'll be a little bit more of a warm white than the primer. And then this trim, it's like coming together. This is exciting. So something I mentioned last week is we are making custom closets. Really, my dad is, and my brother-in-law is helping him. So I will insert a picture of what it used to look like. They were perfectly fine, but we had to take them out because they were attached to the floor, and we needed to take that floor paste off to be able to put new floor in. And then it just escalated and we took out the sagging shelves and now we're here making custom closets. So let me show you the plans that we have. We drew them on the wall and then I'll take you outside and we can see how far they've come because I haven't seen it. You see where we took it out, obviously. And we kind of want to keep a similar layout, I guess. And so what you'll see up here is that we have a little bit longer. They're gonna be a little bit longer. We found storage bins that we like and then we like customized them to that size. And then we also are gonna have this size right here is like the same size as a Calyx unit from IKEA because those are super common and like cheap. So we can put those over here. You have to do these projects with the end in mind. Although we don't have those bins yet, we need to make sure that these squares are gonna be really functional and everything. It looks so good. So that there's a strip on the front.
So there's a strip, and it'll be, this is 3/4, and we'll go with a 1-inch strip.
Gotcha.
So it'll actually look a little
more substantial. I almost forgot to mention that these projects and hopefully many more that you guys will see in the future are thanks to getting these off of Facebook Marketplace. That table saw and then this planer here, and we got these for a steal from the sweetest couple. What do we have here? Just a little too much paint. It's painting day. Say hi.
Hello.
So the wall color that we chose was Alabaster by Sherwin-Williams, and I know it looks very similar to the white that's already on the walls in here, but the rest of the house was more of either a yellow, a pink, or a bright orange. So those were a little bit harder to cover up. We also found that the spillover from when we did the trim painting was very hard to cover up. This beige color, it took about 3 coats to cover up, and my brother-in-law is actually still working on that, so God bless him for doing all of that for us. You can see my mom outside carrying Benjamin and Gideon just helping her out. They were, I don't know what they were doing exactly, but cleaning up the yard a little bit, which is definitely very needed, but something that we're not focusing on quite yet. I heard something happening on the other end of the house and came on over to see my dad and brother-in-law had pretty much finished this entire closet. So it definitely has a few more pieces that need to go in, specifically the bars for hangers and like the trim and everything, but they really figured out how to make these efficiently. I just scrubbed paint off my nose. That's when you know you've been painting a while. But we just finished this room, the master bedroom, and it's definitely gonna need another coat, like especially around the trim and everything, but it's looking really good. And then out here, Dominic is working on this. We're gonna need to do a lot of coats because this honestly still looks totally pink, like completely pink, but it does have a coat on it, believe it or not. And then the door is looking really nice. It's gonna look so nice next to the white. Well, I did it again. I forgot to wrap up this video, and so I'm gonna do so really fast for you guys and show you some updates to some of the things that I shared last week when I shared like our Pinterest board. So specifically the bathroom tile. Multiple people told me how much they liked it. So thank you guys so much. We had a few little changes, namely that I found a better tile for the little threshold so we can have a little accent tile. This one, I think it is perfect. So the Saltillo tile, I don't know if I can hold it all at the same time. These are heavy pieces of tile, but these are gonna be on the ground. This one has a little bit more of a yellow tint to it. And then of course these are gonna be sealed, so they're actually gonna be much darker. And then this one is more like the typical pink orange. And then how good does this look with that? Like right on the edge? Wait, it would be on this way. Oh my gosh, this is so awkward. Okay, so you get the idea. So I wanted to share those, and I'm gonna share the floor, I know. I'll insert a picture of the tile that I chose for the actual shower, the subway tile that's gonna be vertical. I found a really nice like creamy one because the one that I showed you guys was actually more gray. Once I started looking at it more, it looked more gray. So I did want it to be like bright and white so that it keeps it nice and light in there, but I wanted it to have more of like a cream and yellow undertone, less of a gray undertone. So glad that I found those. They should be arriving pretty soon. So let me go ahead and show you the flooring that we have chosen. This was something that I was not leaning towards. I really wanted to have a luxury vinyl plank, which is like, I mean, it is plastic. It isn't a real material, which is something that my parents really did not want to install in the home. Also, it can kind of bubble and it can have like issues with water and scratching and stuff, which all floors can have a little bit of that. And we didn't want to do tile because it's like just too hard, not everywhere. We'll have tile in like the front room once we get to that. But that my dad had when he was in Spain, he lived in Spain in high school, was cork flooring. And so this is what we have ended up installing in our home. Not us, our handyman has been installing this, and this is what it looks like. Some of you guys may have seen it, some people may have like never seen it before, but it's quite cool. It's actually really interesting. It has a little bit of a give to it, and it has this beautiful color variation and everything. It's kind of hard to tell just on this little piece, but I'll insert some clips. And it's a little bit dusty right now because everything is dusty right now. It gives an old world look to it. It also has a really beautiful earthy smell to it, if you can imagine that. I'm upset that we weren't gonna get the look of wood, like the lines and all of that, but honestly, once you have rugs and everything, I think that this is gonna look really nice, and I'm excited to show you guys something that maybe you've never seen before, that's a little bit different, but is really, really practical, especially in an area where we might resell this home, my parents might, or they might live in it, hopefully. And so it would be a good place to have something that is a little bit more soft for, you know, aging legs and hips and everything. That's the PT brain working in me. And also with children so that they don't, you know, crack their heads on this. So we're pretty excited for it. You guys can let me know what you think if you've ever seen this before. It goes in with a it's a floating floor, so there's no glue onto the floor. And so if like one piece does get damaged, you in theory could take it out. But also it's supposed to be very durable as long as it's sealed properly. So somehow it just kind of clips in there and stuff, and then they hammer it in. And that's the part that's been really loud at the house. And so that's why I've had to do mostly voiceovers for everything, because they're like hammering all these pieces in. Anyway, this is what we're working with, and I hope that you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a like. Consider subscribing if you want to see more of this renovation process, because we've got a lot more coming. I hope you have a blessed week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
We are going thrifting at the Goodwill outlet.
I think it is an artichoke.